Thank you for joining us. This is The Leg Up, your weekly thoroughbred preview podcast. And fresh off the back of the first day of the Wellington Carnival, we head to Karaka Million night. Fast becoming one of the biggest nights of the year. Good afternoon, boys. So let's look back first. Wellington, first day advantage doing the business, Steve.
Just too good. She's
just too class, isn't she?
It was pretty dominant win in the end, Thaddeus, and the marketplace knew, hovered around that $1.60, $1.65 price, and she was clearly the best back runner advantage, and she's done the double, which hasn't been done for a long, long time, maybe a couple of decades plus. So that was the railway and obviously the telegraph. So she'll head to the sprint at Tarapa, and she should be very hard to beat there. But overall, it was 9 races at Trentham, and some of the fluctuations were incredible to see. Super strike. But yeah, in both ways. Waisaki went out, was very dominant. Tabata in the last went out in price, 210 to 350. You wouldn't say she was dominant, but she did the job well with Danielle Johnson doing the riding. And Bonham opened double figures in the Wellington Classic, closed around that 480 mark.
Stop the Tiarkau steam train.
Yes.
Momentarily.
Probably saved our bacon man barely standing that.
Certainly, yeah. I think a big thank you from you boys should go out to the Benno Wynyard team.
It's not often we'd be thanking them with their strike rate.
Certainly not the CD.
No, exactly. Yeah, no. Tabata, well, B-Mac on course. Brendan McCullum was there.
Very happy.
Should have seen, as soon as I'd seen him, if I'd known he was there, I didn't know he was there. I would have doubled my bet.
Double your bet.
Yeah, I saw B-Mac.
I think they set their horse for the race, didn't they? They desperately needed a run in between Ellerslie and also Trentham, and they decided to roll the dice on a heavy track. I think it was at Tiata from memory. It was a heavy track condition, which never really suited the mare, but they needed the run under the belt before they got to the mile at Trentham, and it did the job in the last. But look, the anniversary, Super Strike, will come to BP shortly. That was his best bet of the day. I got the map totally wrong. I thought they were going to run a low, moderate tempo, but they went so hard. In fact, the first 400, they matched sectionals with the Telegraph.
Really?
The mitigator, etc. So they went very hard up front and set it up for those mid to back markers. Sacred Elixir was well found in the market.
They nearly pulled it off with Sacred Elixir, Steve.
Since the timing, they will head up to Tarapa and the Herbie Dyke and Super Strike. A progressive type will spell now and come back in the spring.
Yeah, okay. You have a good day, Paul, last Saturday? Back a winner?
Yeah, I was very busy at work. There's a lot going on.
Was there?
Yeah, very much.
Yeah. I wasn't here last Saturday.
You might want to try it one day.
Here we go. Every time.
Apparently working on course. Hard there.
Hey, I'm Buzz. Oh, I was certainly entertaining, and that's all part of it, Steve. I'm Buzz. Bit stiff, your best bet. I'm Buzz. Looking back.
I was hoping they were going to take the gap that the eventual winner Kickstart decided to take.
Yeah.
Just went off the rail, but in the end, that's racing.
Left to fight another day.
At least if you followed Steve and BP, you got a bit of a return.
Yeah, Wasaki and Super Strike as well. And it was about $4.20 when BP tipped it out. Let's bring BP in. $4.20 Super Strike closed 260 pops on your game.
Yeah, hey lads. I certainly didn't see that coming with Super Strike. It was such a strong competitive race that I thought it was always going to sort of hover around maybe that $4 mark, maybe just below $4, but wasn't it a torrent of cash for a horse? And look, as Steve pointed out, the tempo just played into the hands of that horse, and he's a really good closer, isn't he? And he's a horse that he's got a bigger race in him. He's a Group 3 winner now, and he's just showing us that progression with what he's done already this season. So that topped off what has been a very busy prep and a good preparation for the Richard Collett trained Super Strike. But yeah, overall, as you guys have mentioned, top day of racing out of Trentham, and now they have that little breather. Of course, they've got a meeting on Saturday as it is, but with the centre of attention now out of Auckland.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you probably haven't missed too many Karaka Millions, BP. What a sort of meeting this has turned into, and the atmosphere on course just looks second to none.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to beat, Thad, to be honest with you now. I think this is a meeting now that has certainly elevated to the top with not just the racing that's on the track, but how it's broadcast to the non-racing public as well this particular evening. Like, there's a lot of people that are in the sort of up around this region that are talking about the Karaka Million races when it's on a couple of months out, and that generates interest for the game, and that's one thing we can all love. Look, we all know Wellington Cup Day has always had that feeling, in the region when when I've lived down there. Wellington Cup Day is the big day. Everybody looks forward to getting dressed up and going there for a day out at the races. This is that meeting up this way here in the north, and it's going to build to be a top night of racing. And to be honest with you, the 2-year-old Karaka Million does set to be, I think, one of the most even races that we've seen over the years.
Yeah, 100%. Did I hear a rumour Aidan Rodley is going to be on course in a non-working capacity? I'd be steering well clear.
Yeah, I certainly won't be looking out for him after race number 6. It could be very dangerous. Yes, he's taken some leave, and Emily Bosson will be working with me on Saturday. So Aidan will be there cheering on his jockeys from the sideline. Of course, he's still got a couple of jockeys involved in the Karaka Million, but not probably the one that he was hoping was going to be there on Saturday. And of course, that being Opie Bosson.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he deserves a bit of time off, A-Rod. Big fan of the show too, the leg up. Shout out to you, Aidan. Thanks for watching. Shall we talk about Opie Bosson? Because there's a bit of a, elephant in the room, potentially to some degree. I mean, he's not going to be there, Steve. Paul, what are we thinking about that? Probably two sides to the coin here, isn't there, really?
Oh, look, it's a big loss in terms of the industry and the profile of the meeting. Punters love investing on Opie. We see that every day in the office, that is. So, and he's the best jockey in the country. So for the connections of the horses that he would have been on is disappointing. Look, to be honest, I haven't really gone into the depths of the suspension and the fine / the days he's been suspended for. So I can't really go into it in that way. But yeah, look, he'll be back Wellington Cup Day.
Okay.
And he'll have Melody Bell as a key ride coming back into a Group 1.
Yeah. Anything to add, Pops, on this one? I mean, someone was saying the suspension was harsh. I mean, I probably can't go into the detail. I don't know about that. But, any thoughts around the Opie situation? Because they took it a fair old way, all the way to the High Court.
That's right. I mean, Opie wasn't... One thing Opie did say that all through this is that he put his hand up for what he did and his careless riding charge. He wasn't certainly saying that wasn't the case. He was just talking about the severity of the days that he got suspended. So that's what they were looking for. They were just looking to try and shave a couple of days off, so then it would mean he could ride on Karaka Million night. He certainly believed that he was guilty for what he did, and that's the point we're going to try and make here, isn't it? Is that they've put a line in the sand. He's done the crime. This is your time, type of thing. So we can't just have jockeys going out there and railroading jockeys out of the way to try and find their best position and try and win races, because it has to be a fair playing field for everybody across the board. So that's that side of the coin. And then the other side of the coin, of course, is, yes, he's a punter's friend, and you've got owners and trainers that have, been counting on Opie to be there for this night, and that's not the case. Danielle Johnson will step up. She'll do a great job, and we've already seen that last week with her picking up a Group 1 victory on Avantage, a ride that would have been Opie Bosson's.
Yeah. What about the fine system, Pops? I'm not going to go on about this, but they're talking about fining jockeys as opposed to suspensions. What are any views on that?
Well, yeah, that's one way of looking at it. Look, not all jockeys are going to be able to stump up a big fine, though, are they? I mean, again, this has to be a fair playing field. And if a jockey who is not earning as much throughout the year is slapped with a bigger fine, well, that could impact them for their livelihood for the rest of the 12 months. So yes, that could be the case. You could do that. And we all know that, Opie's got the backers to be able to help him and go down that line. Again, is that fair though? We're all about being fair. I'm not sure. I don't know if that is the way to go, but that's the way they were trying to go down. That's the line they wanted to take with it as well, with what the suspension angle. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel with that.
No, I'm here. I probably agree with Pops on that one. Steve?
Yeah, look, there was some change of guidelines and penalties early part of December that NZTR put into process. Maybe that was the angle Opie Bosson and his team were looking to come from, in terms of had that new process been included in terms of the suspension that was declared on New Year's Day, because it was around the less days, more cash out of the jockey's pocket. So that might have been the angle. I'm not too sure, but
I guess the shortage of jockeys sort of comes into play there, and we don't have abundance of them, so perhaps that's what they're thinking. But to Pops's point,
you can't factor that in.
Exactly. To Pops's point, it could be unfair for some jockeys that can't pay a fine. Opie could look down the back of his couch, you'd think, and find the money for it to pay a fine. So it's a tricky one, isn't it, BP?
It is, mate. It is. So look, that's the card that's been dealt now, and we have to go on and certainly as we try and go through the fields on the weekend, it is disappointing not to see his name on the race book. But as I pointed out, Danielle Johnson is the best jockey in the country at the moment with the amount of wins and how she's riding. She's riding in unbelievable form. She's had the pick of the best 2-year-old, and she's gone with Miller Fiore, which is the favourite. So look, there's no issues there, that is for sure, in terms of the replacement jockey for Opie on the weekend.
No, for sure, absolutely. 4 last Saturday as well, and a couple of peaches. Tabata's ride was a peach. Avantage was just absolutely painless for its backers, so she is flying. Let's get to the racing, guys, because that's what we're here for. And we're going to go 6 fantastic races. We've got time to look at 4 of them, guys. And we're going to start race number 3, the Westbury Classic, 1,400 metres, Group 3, Steve, race number 3. And a short price favourite here, deserving of what we saw last time.
Levante, probably one of the biggest spruiked horses in the country and deserves that title. $1.55 we posted with Levante. She's been well supported and punters pretty happy to shop at that current price. In front of Show of Roses at $5. Travelling Light, $8.50. We've accepted a $500 each way, win and top 3 around Travelling Light. Star Bombay, $15. Kiwi Ida defending champ at $16. Piarina, $17. Our Alley Cat, Familiar, $31 each of 2. Carolino, $34. Miss Labasa, $41. Early doors, best bat runner has been number 4, Levante, with a little bit of specking around Travelling Light and Star Bombay.
GBP, I feel like we always get a couple of pretty solid odds-on favourites on Karaka Million night, and this is going to be one carrying the hopes of a nation here in the Westbury Classic, Levante.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? I mean, it's a bit similar to last year where we had, Catalyst in the Mr. Tiz. Look, he was a strongly played horse. Everybody went there to see him in the early part of the program, and he delivered off that promise. And you're sort of hoping that's going to be the case with Levante, because Levante is a horse that looks suited to go into 1,400 metres. They've got the barrier draw. They've probably got the barrier draw they were looking for on the railway. That just means that I think over more distance, she's going to be able to have more time to be able to alleviate her issues at the start, where she does get back, and she's going to be able to have that chance to be able to roll over the top of them. So 1,400 metres, no issue. Draw, not a problem. Let's let her fly and see her finish on, because, I mean, her run in the railway was exceptional. I mean, the figures that she produced were just insane, really. To be able to come home in 10.72 for her last 200. She's come home in 32.53 for her last 600. And with how that race developed, it took the speed all out of the race in the middle stages. She was enormous, really. So I'd imagine she's going to be a multi-filler for a number of punters throughout the day at the $1.55, and maybe some big heavy hitters will be keen to have a look at her throughout the program. Where are the other dangers? Probably Show of Roses, who's going to have that advantage on her because she can jump and go and use her barrier speed and put herself in the race. And she's coming back to 1,400 metres after 2 1,600-metre victories in the Kalai Zuzu and, of course, in the Ritual. But she's got 1,400-metre form, though. She does have 2 very good placings, one of them here at Ellerslie in a Bone Crusher as a 3-year-old, and also in the Auckland Thoroughbred Breeder. So I don't think 1,400 metres is going to be much of an issue for her. So it sets the race up with her in front, and Travelling Light, I think, is a big danger, and behind them as well off the back of her tidy trial recently.
Yeah, $1.55, man, barely standing. You're going to be opening your Rarely Seen wallet?
Look, I think there's a way around. I don't think I'm letting it out of the bag by saying there'll be a $100,000 first 4 on every race at Ellerslie Karaka Million night.
Jesus, news to me. Maybe you have let it out of the bag. The first
did I add on a 0?
It's only 10. It's 100 now.
Yeah. No. Okay, so it's a $100,000 guaranteed first 4 on every race at Ellerslie, the Karaka Million night. So, with what BP has said, and I totally agree with him, Levante will really be advantaged by the 10 barrier. Yeah. She gets back, as we saw once again in the railway. The extra furlong will be right up her alley. So do you anchor her up front and then play around with a few behind her in your first 4? And if you do, who do you play around with just in behind her, BP?
Well, I think you could take there's a couple of ways of playing this. You could take one where you take Show of Roses as your next anchor. So you could say if you're confident that Show of Roses can run second or third, you just play 2 tickets that way. So Levante, Show of Roses with, say, 3 horses, with 4 horses, or whatever other sort of combination, and then take that same ticket again with Show of Roses to run third as your anchor, and then play around that way. So if that horse is going to, if you map it like that horse is going to be in front and give a very big sight and gets run down late, that would be my possible early thought on how to play a big ticket. Because I still think if you do hit it, it's going to be still small fish. So you want to be able to have as many units on your side as possible, I think, in terms of trying to play that first 4.
I love it when Pop starts talking units. Units of the first 4. Those figures, Steve, you would have been all over the figures in the railway around Levante. She's top class.
She is. Not too many horses can produce the figures she broke in the last 600. BP mentioned you not often see a horse break 33 for the last 600. In terms of the last furlong, the 200 metres, she ran 3 lengths faster than Avantage. Now, Avantage had the race won, and maybe Opie was a little bit kind in the last 50, 75. But at the end of the day, 3 lengths faster in the last 200 is quite notable against Avantage. And she was really doing her best work at the back end of the race, Levante. So we know 1400 will suit. With the pace in the race, well, we think Show of Roses from the Ace Jaw, even though dropping back to 1400, should be leading, and a little bit of speed around her, Miss Labasa and our Alley Cat. Our Alley Cat's just missed away in its last couple, but early in its preparation, it was a go-forward horse. It's going to be an intriguing race. I think in terms of set weights and penalties, Star of Bombay rated an 86 and below are the horses that are not well off in the weights in terms of the conditions of the race. Star of Bombay has been well played in that middle market. Is it a factor of Holiday or Hot Jock in terms of Danielle Johnson doing the riding there? And look, Familiar, I think she can still run a race. I don't think she can compete with Levante in terms of a winning chance, but I think she can run the first 4. Familiar, I've had a decent opinion on her around this campaign. She's had a couple of things that just hasn't gone her way this preparation, but she might have been needed in the run on Boxing Day. And
was she late scratched at any stage, or would miss the start, or was it?
Well, she missed the start at Pukekohe in I think it was the Counties Bowl or one of those lower grade races. Might have been
Breeders.
The Breeders,
Yeah.
which won't show in the form line. But I think she can outrun her odds at a big price. I think she can run about $34 Familiar. But Travelling Light, just keep an eye on her price, the marketplace. She's first up. She trialled okay.
Yeah.
We've had 500 each way. We know she's the genuine class in the race outside Levante, being the only Group 1 winner. So again, at set weights and penalties, she's okay in terms of her ratings at 92. But
I'll be watching that price, man. Barely standing around Travelling Light, 8.5. You'll be having that in your first 4 for sure.
Oh, very much so. And of course, she was part of that class of gun fillies from last season. Travelling Light, running around with the likes of Jennifer Eccles and Loire. So fresh up. Just I don't know, but with the money coming, it suggests that she's ready to go.
Yeah, okay.
Unbeaten at HQ, unbeaten at 1400. I think they'll ride a semi-neutral from barrier 3.
Yeah,
being first up, they might get a midfield
3
position
pairs back or something,
field.
and hope she runs on. Okay, Pops, Levante on top. Give us a 1, 2, 3, and maybe 4 in the Westbury Classic.
Yeah, look, Levante on top, Show of Roses or Mark is second, and third we'll go with Travelling Light. And then away from that, look, we haven't mentioned Kiwi Ida, who did win this race last year. So just where is she at from 12 months on in terms of where she was in tracking and what a season she had last season, Kiwi Ida, to what we've seen from her so far this season, where she was actually beaten recently in the Miss Scenic Land at Greymouth. She's got a low gate. Can she be one of those horses that could be flashing home late into 4th? I think on her class, yes, she can be. She could be that one horse, a little bit like, as Stephen mentioned, Familiar. Could be that 4th runner flashing home. So, I'm going to stick to the top of the book. I'll go around 4, 2, 3, and 1. But that 4th line could be filled by sort of 3 or 4 different prospects.
Do you imagine if Kiwi Ida lost the Miss Scenic Land, then came out and knocked off Levante in the last stride in a Westbury Classic, barely standing there? They'd tear the grandstand down, wouldn't they?
Would be calling it Chris Johnson night.
Exactly. So you can't get away from Levante, can you, Paul?
I can't. I just think up to 1,400 metres, she'll be flying.
Yeah.
And I don't think they'll get as far back as they have been. I think they'll be a little handier than usual.
Yeah, 3 wide with a bit of cover. That's all
Correct.
she needs.
No one's going to tip against a Levante. It's whether you're price sensitive at $1.55. Are you happy at taking the 1.55,
point.
or are you willing to shop against it and you frame this market at
What's
close
that
to
make
$2?
her? What's that make her? How many times out of 100 will she win this race at around that price? Are we saying at the moment?
Around about 65, isn't it?
65 times out of 100. So if you think she can win this race more than 65 times out of 100, you'd take $1.55 roughly. You're saying, yeah, okay. I don't know. I think it's probably all right.
Yeah, if you look at it that way, it might be $1.55 might be top flat
Value.
As always.
All fish are sweet, as Paul always says. What are they? Smaller the dish or the
smaller the fish, sweeter the dish.
There you go. Thank you. I knew it was something.
Good on you.
Right, yeah, Levante, awfully hard to beat racer number 3 on the day. We'll go race book order and look. Let's call it the main race. It is the main race, the Karaka Million, 2-year-old over the 1,200 meters. As Pops rightly points out, very, very even lineup, Stephen.
It is, Thaddeus, but punters gravitating towards the point end of the market. The 2 Jamie Richards pair, Mila Fiore at $3.40 has been well supported. And on the bubbles has been also well supported, $4.60 and the $4.40. At this stage, on the bubbles holds 2 times more money than Mila Fiore, but at this stage, they've both been well-backed commodities. Follow your dreams in that third line, 8.5. Avanello, 950. Double figures around Sneaky Shark, 950 out a couple turns to 11. She has that same quote with Western Springs. Sophisticado, 12. 720 has been specced in that middle market, 15 into 13. Mr. Blue Sky, 14. Brazen Blue at $19. Best of the rest is Coyote at $21. But overall, the best bat runners have been at the top of the Mila Fiore and on the bubbles.
Yeah, probably no surprise, BP, that the Tangerine Army are dominating. The boys changed favourites here after the barrier draw. I think they had on the bubbles favourite when the futures market closed. And now Mila Fiore with the better barrier draw. Have they made the right call in your eyes?
Well, I think so. But around on the bubbles, first of all, I would say that his win was very good when last time to the races, when winning at Ellerslie, that his barrier draw, yes, drawing barrier number 14, but don't let that put you off because Probably did win from that barrier draw 2 years ago. And he is a horse that, he's proven that he can cover a little bit of extra ground. So what's going to have to happen for him to win the race is he's going to have to get back and have to get onto that some sort of 3-wide train to move into the race. I'm not saying that he's Probable, but that's the type of run that he's going to have to get. You'd imagine it's going to be electric up front. There'll be horses hustling to go forward. And it just means that Parks is just going to have to slide over, find some sort of spot, and then try and bring him into the race at the right time. But I think with how he won last night, I thought his win was terrific at Ellerslie, with covering all that extra ground and putting them away like he did. So I'm with Mila Fiore still, off the back of all that chat around on the bubbles running so super last time of the races. I'm sort of Mila Fiore in front of on the bubbles. I thought Mila Fiore was a good winner last time to the races. It's been a proven tactic by Jamie Richards to go to that race out of Tauranga, which of course we saw Kulu Zabil do exactly that and then go on and win the race 8 days later. I like how she won and showed gate speed and beating out Sneaky Shark on that occasion when first presented at Ellerslie. So she's got right-handed form, both starts right-handed for both wins and one of them at Ellerslie. So they're all key pointers to her running a big race. I think there's a number of big dangers in the race, though. I think you sort of break it down. I sort of find about 5 or 6 horses here. If they get the right run, they can win it. That's how I see the race. Yes, I'm tipping the 11 on top, but I even think a horse like 720 can run a race. I think that is probably one of the smokies with how that horse went last time to the races. Billy Pin aboard, low gate, super run behind Palamos last time. I thought she'd be one of the horses I'm keen to back at an each way price.
Yeah, look, $13 been a little bit of move. I think it was 16, 720, Steve, wasn't it, when we opened?
15s.
15s.
17, 20. Okay. Drawn barrier 2, maps to get a far better run than what it did first up this preparation. And look, it's a chance and what an opportunity for Billy Pin.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Billy Pin would be back if he could take this out. You'd earn your first 4 dividend here, man barely standing, if you get a little piece of this.
You certainly could. Look, I had Statman Scotty Bill. Well, he took it up all by himself to see if he could find a few trends for past winners of the 2-year-old Karaka Million.
Yeah, this is Scotty Bill Hunt.
This is Scotty Bill.
Yep.
And he did find a few trends. I'll let you know a little bit later what they are. I don't want to sort of push you this way or that way with your selections. But he's found a couple of interesting little stats from past winners of this race.
Okay.
So
what do you think?
Look, I agree. I think the two Tiago runners right up there at the top of the market certainly deserve to be favourites, but there may be a little bit of value elsewhere in the market. I don't mind the look of Follow Your Dreams at $8.50. Didn't get the best trip last start and had the posted the best last 600 meters for that race, so was really finishing off nicely. Avanello, another one, strong win. I think it was at Riccarton, where it beat Follow Your Dreams. So that's another one that I don't mind. And then further down the page, Bricks at $31. I thought there was a huge run at Counties over 1,100 meters when beating Quattro Quinta, who then went on. And last weekend, I think we all saw pick up the Wellesley.
Correct. Franked form. Okay, $31 around Bricks. Western Springs, 1 start, 1 win, Steve. It was beat to Mr. Blue Sky, who's also in the race at New Plymouth.
Yeah, interesting runner for the James Wellwood team. Probably on pedigree will be a nice 3-year-old v 2-year-old, but from all accounts, it's had an uninterrupted profile or prep going into the 2-year-old race. They took it to Ellerslie on Monday to have a look around, just a bit of a track gallop, which I think is crucial for juveniles. As we know, its 1 start was down in the Naki. So, look, you can't knock it. They might ride a little bit more neutral in terms of where it went on debut. It jumped and led on that occasion. And as you mentioned, ran a nice, performed well in beating Mr. Blue Sky, which that form has been franked in the last week or so. So, whatever it does will be a bonus in terms of watch it for as a 3-year-old. But again, it's probably found its mark around about that middle team price.
Yeah, okay. Draws in this race, Steve. Man barely standing might bless us with his stats in the minute, but does it matter? The 12. Well, we know they generally matter over the 1,200 meters at Ellerslie.
It's a tricky start at Ellerslie, the 1,200 meter start. You can be flushed wide if you're looking to push on and try and grab a spot, and the first half does. Look, overall, the horses that have won this race have drawn a nice gate. BP alluded that Probabile drew wide, but knowing where her pattern was, looking back on it, she was a get-back kind of horse or get-back kind of filly, and she was one out of the box. She's a genuine Group 1 horse in Australasia. So the question has to be asked is on the bubbles in that league with Probabile. Well, we won't know until maybe 6-12 months' time. But look, on the bubbles, as good as it was on the eye, it's just yet to do those hard figures. I think it was a tick over 112 for the 1,200 meter race a few Sundays back at HQ, and was well below benchmark, the overall race. Now, they were never going to break a benchmark time because they went out very, very slow on the first 400-600 meters. I think Dragon Biscuit, who led on that occasion, was 7 lengths below the other 1,200 meter race on that day, which was the 3-year-old race. And on the bubbles was 3 wide. So, look, if you're going to have a slow tempo in a race, the place to be can be 3 wide and just traveling in your own steam and out of trouble between those horses that are drawn in, and it's a stop-start affair. So, but saying that, the back end of the race, the closing 4 200 splits on the bubbles was pretty good in terms of the benchmark and the standard of the race. But overall, just yet to produce that hard time. But on the eye again, you got to respect it alone. It was a pretty dominant performance.
Well, we said Brando. I mean, Brando was very good last Saturday, but he had some. You said he hadn't smashed the clock, as it were. Is this potentially another one in that category? I guess
a lot of these 2-year-olds, you're backing on the upward spiral, the potential. A lot of them has yet to produce hard figures purely because they've only had 1 or 2 starts and they're still learning the craft. So, but overall, on a day that didn't produce too many in terms of benchmark performances on that Salva day on the Sunday, the 2-year-old race was well below the mark there as an overall time. But as I stress, the last concluding part of the race on the bubbles was pretty good in terms of 4 200 splits.
Okay. What about Avanello, BP? Made such an impression down south. They were calling it the 3rd stringer here for Tiakau. Can he make his presence felt?
It wasn't the worst run, I suppose, from the horse when last presented in the Eclipse Stakes. When beaten around 7 lengths, it was a good opportunity for the horse to have a look around because he was already qualified. So he's already made the qualification standard by then, because he'd won the Welcome Stakes and with what he was able to do down south, and sort of that taking that Avantage sort of type of form line, really, that when she won, she was able to kick off her preparation down there before coming up to Ellerslie and winning on that key meeting as the race that On the Bubbles won. Yeah, I think he can be a good improver. Again, he falls into that if he is. He's in that third or fourth line. Sneaky Shark. What do we do with Sneaky Shark? This horse has been backed off the map 3 times and hasn't won. Went around last Friday as $1.80 favourite and was beaten by Miller Fiore. Drawn sticky again. I don't want to leave him out, but his run, you wanted a little bit more out of his run on Friday out of Tauranga. Sort of hearing from Jamie Richards in those pieces that we've done throughout the week that, they're going to try a few different things, but they weren't exactly overly happy with how he performed last Friday as well. So, he is a question mark, I suppose, with what he's done, but I know that there's a pretty high regard that the horse can gallop. Mr. Blue Sky, he ran second to Mille Fiore. Look, he's probably in that chance bracket as well. So, yeah, there's a few here, isn't there, where you can sort of break away from those top 3 horses. There's a number of horses here that can run themselves into the money. This is the race for sure. Your $100,000 first 4 guaranteed. You want to try and make sure you've got the right sort of combination going here, because you might be able to strike a big result.
So absolutely, I wouldn't mind 50 cents, as Steve Davis would say, of that first 4 if we can get it in the Karaka Million 2-year-old pops. We need your top 4. Can you give it to us in order, please, in this year's Karaka Million?
Yeah, all right, Thad. Look, I've changed my mind a few times about how to play these numbers and behind, but I'm going to go 11 to win Mille Fiore with just her form right-handed and how she won last Friday and a winner here at Ellerslie. To beat the 13, I'm going to put the 13 in the mix in 720. I really do like this horse as a knockout chance in the race, so I'll place her into second with On the Bubbles as my third selection, runner number 3. And I'm going to go for Western Springs. I'm going to put this horse into the mixture as well. I know that he has worked very well leading up to his little hit out round Ellerslie on Monday. He's got a low gate. He beat Mr. Blue Sky. I think he's one that can make things fairly spicy in the race as well. I suppose the against is he hasn't raced at Ellerslie, where I think that in favour for horses like Follow Your Dreams and Avanello, they certainly have had a good look around there, and Follow Your Dreams is probably in that next line because of how good he was last time out sectionally. So, 4 numbers though, 11 to beat 13, 3 and 7.
Oh, lovely. Western Springs. I don't mind it either. I think it can run a bit of a race. Man barely standing. What's in your mixture? You going to bless us with these stats at any time soon? Or
I won't give you a first 4. I think the combinations that BP is throwing out rock solid. But I'll get to Statman Scotty Bill's trend for previous winners of this race. Point number 1, must have had a start before the 10th of November. Point number 2, must have won a race. Point 3, must have had at least 3 starts. And point 4, must be unplaced at their last start. That leaves us with 4 runners.
Right.
Avanello, Follow Your Dreams, Bricks, and Miss Ipanema. So Glenn Harvey could have a huge night at Ellerslie this Saturday.
Gee, I hope you've done this the first 4.
Must be unplaced in their last start.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. So Avanello and Follow Your Dreams, perhaps the way to go. And this year's Karaka Million.
Possibly.
I see you chuck Bricks in there. You're very sneaky here. 30
to be fair, I didn't mind it each way anyway. And that just firmed my resolve around it. I've got a question for you, though. So to qualify for the two-year-old race, it's based on stakes money. Money won. Do you think it would be... what if they did it sort of like the 3-year-old race and had a rating order system instead for the 2-year-old race? Would you prefer that, or you think that the stakes money one is the way to go? Steve, this would be your question for you rather than me, I'd say.
I think you got to look at how long's the Karaka Million been playing for? Well over a decade now.
12 years, 13 years, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember where we've had one juvenile that should have made the field in terms of form that hasn't. So I think the the process that's been put in place in terms of stakes works. If we had a few years where you'd say, that 2-year-old, that juvenile should have been in the field for whatever reason in terms of form, I don't think we've had that occurred. So I'm pretty happy with the process. Like the 3-year-old race, it's done purely on ratings, which I like, because you can have 2-year-olds that have accumulated as stakes, have gone off the scene, have come back as a 3-year-old, not showing the form they showed as a 2-year-old, but still have some fairly good cash in their bank, and might sit in front of horses that have generated high ratings as a 3-year-old. So I don't mind the process, BP. What's your thoughts around it?
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's not broken. It works, doesn't it? So every horse trainer knows how to set their horses. Some like to get some early cash in the bin, so then they can take the pressure off and glide their way towards the Karaka Million. So those are the horses that are up and running and ready to go through September and are qualified for the race. Then they can work out their path of what races they want to take. Do they race Boxing Day, the Eclipse Stakes? Do they race at the Ellerslie race? Sort of 14, 13 days beforehand or whatever. So no, I think it's good, and it adds to it as well as we get closer. Like we saw in the last week, what horses are going to get in? Is Mr. Blue Sky going to get in? Millefiore, Sneaky Shark, can they get into the race if it runs well? So all those types of things, I think, all add to the interest leading towards the race. So it's all good.
Yeah, not broke, don't fix. Not broken, don't need to fix it. The Karaka
Big
Million
hit from the 80s.
Righto, moving on. Race number 5. Let's get back to the racing here. Concorde is race number 5 over the 1,200 metres, Stephen. We've had some very, some breaking news, some interesting information in the last hour or so regarding this race.
Well, a lot of the talk post the final field coming out yesterday through NZTR, Mallarita getting a spot in front of Entrevier, who was our dominant favourite at 1.9. Just in the last hour or so, Mallarita has come out, has been withdrawn, and Entrevier makes the field, drawn the ace, Danielle Johnson, Jamie Richards, a real progressive mare, and remains in the red at 1.9 and was well backed, even though it was E1 in the last 24 hours. So punter's pretty happy at the 1.9 price, and we've had a $2,000 bet at that quote. In front of the stablemate in Festivity, 5 out to $6. Julius out of turn 9,950. Princess Rihanna at $13 with Packing Rockstar. Vigor Win at $15. Pretty to See at $19. It's Destiny's Child, the defending champ, at $21 with She's All Mine. Gino Severini, interesting runner, coming back in trip at $23. Best of the rest is Just a Canter at $34. But Julius, well supported in the first few hours of trading, but overall, Entrevier has been the well-backed runner at 1.9.
1.9 BP on Triviera. She's talented. We know that. This is a big step up. You'd be shopping 1.9.
Her win was devastating, though. She does look to be the horse that is on the rise. Look, she broke 110 when she won her rating 74 here at Ellerslie, and boy, you could not be impressed with how she won that race on Trivier. I think Julius, though, is the one horse in this race that could really make this interesting. I think he's a horse that is in the right space. Wide draw, no issue, because he'll go forward and roll. He'll sit outside leader. He'll be comfortable. That's a great spot for him to be in. We saw him find his best form again by jumping and running and being up against the rail in the railway. And he made Avantage work for that victory. He was coming again on the line. So he's not out of this race, and his Ellerslie form is terrific. It really is. So he is the each way play in the race. So you could easily have an each way ticket on him at the 9s. You could maybe look, your 2/3 type 1/3 play, I think, with Julius. It's hard to go past on Trivier, though, isn't it? It's up and coming against Proven, and boy, she does look to be very much on the upward plane.
Oh, does she what? Last time was, as BP mentioned, was massive. Steve, 1.9. Any doubt she would be in the red in this field? I mean, it's a pretty good field of proven performers.
No, I don't think so. I think overall, you look at her as a betting profile. You got Jamie Richards, Danielle Johnson, drawn a good gate. She's got to step up in grade. And in terms of the handicap, Julius compresses the weight. So a horse like It's Destiny's Child, we're rating a 93. V Entrevier, rating 75. Normally in a handicap condition race, Entrevier should be receiving 9 kilograms. As it stands with the compressed nature of the weights, She has to beat the handicapper here on Trivier, but she has that upward spiral. We don't know how high her ceiling is. And as BP mentioned, she ran time, albeit in rating 74 grade. I think she was 3 lengths above standard. So, and that shows that she can take the step up. If she's run time and above the 74 standard, that she can take the next step. So, and she just has that overall betting profile. The pros will love this horse late in the piece. It's second to last race, and I'm sure she'll be very firm late in the piece in terms of trading.
Well, you mentioned that about Brando last week, and that happened to be the case. I know he got beaten, but
and
he was rock solid.
It's these Jamie Richards, Danielle Johnson profiled horses that are in feature races. Not often do we turn them outwards in the last 5-10 minutes of trading.
Yeah, okay. $1.90. You'll be a big bad Julius fan, Paul. Tough old campaigner, isn't he? 60 kgs won't worry him.
I can't look past Tiago here on Trivier.
I was trying to get you off the ball.
I just can't. She's posted the second fastest last 800-meter sectional over the summer period at Ellerslie. Only 1/10 of a second behind.
One of the fastest. That was immediately where I was going.
Levante.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
And there are only 2 horses that have posted faster last 600 sectionals over the same period at Ellerslie. Levante being one.
Sure.
Can you name the other one?
I certainly can't. Steve might be able to.
Say the question again.
So she's run the 3rd fastest last 600-meter sectional over the summer period at Ellerslie. Yep. Levante's the fastest. The second fastest is
a Madalena?
A CD.
No, spit it out.
Patterson.
Oh, Coventina Bay.
Okay.
Okay.
So I just can't look back.
Yeah, right. $1.90.
I know. Step up in class. And as you say, Julius, if you like Julius, and you're probably going to like picking Rockstar as well. I thought that was a pretty encouraging performance for the 4th or 5th in the railway. Meets Julius 4 kilos better off this time.
Okay.
Yeah, out of a Group 1 winning mare.
Oh, yeah. Shoot.
And a bandana.
Oh, and a bandana. Okay. Don Selwood, wasn't it? Trained by Don Selwood.
Indeed. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, very good.
I picked that up from someone else. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Like $1.90 on Trivier BP. Look, your old mate, She's All Mine. She's in this field, and it's Destiny's Child's a very good galloper on its day. I think won a Concorde in the past. Vigor winner, Packer Rockstar. There's some good names here. I haven't even mentioned Princess Rihanna. So, if you do want to go each way, there are a few options.
Yeah, and look, there's a chance to use the railway as your form leverage here for those horses in behind in your first 4, because I think horses like Packing Rockstar, because it was such a compressed finish, wasn't it, over the line? There wasn't much stretched over the horses on the line, and there was a few horses that were still making some pretty good ground, and even like Just a Canter, for instance, who wasn't that far off them on the line when finishing 8th, was only 3 lengths off the winner in Avantage. So Packing Rockstar, pretty to see. It's Destiny's Child. They all fall into that same bracket of how they ran in the railway, where they all went good races. They went nice races in behind. So it's just down to them getting the right run. Packing Rockstar, I think, is certainly a chance of running into the first 4. And maybe it's Destiny's Child. I mean, it has to overcome a tricky gate, but it did win the race last year. Didn't mind what she did last time to the race. Has been running 5th in the railway. But I'll certainly be looking to play around 15, 1, and then trying to play around some different combos in behind. And maybe Julius could be that roving anchor for the place in behind on Trivier.
Yeah, okay. It's Destiny's Child carried 59 in this race last year, BP. It's down to 53.
Yeah.
But that's Julius being in the race. Gino Severini, what do you do with this bloke? I know you got a lot of time for him. Back in trip 1,200 meters.
I don't know what to do with him over 1,200 meters. I mean, he's a horse that is capable of footing it with them. He's got a draw where he can take a reasonable spot. He's going to be just off them. Is Gino Severini? Look, he's got miles on the clock with what he's done this preparation. He was very good in beating the mitigator and the Eagle Technology Stakes over 1,600 meters. Look, it's a different way of going about things, but he's classy enough because he's shown that he's not too far off the Group 1 company as Gino Severini. So again, first 4 bracket, he falls into that 3rd and 4th line of betting for mine in terms of trying to place your extended first 4 ticket. So he's sort of in one of 5 horses that you can put in there.
extended first four ticket. Gino Severini, $22. No money from dropping back to 1,200. Steve, look, I want to have a chat about this because it is interesting and viewers may know or not know. I mean, on Trivier, missed the race. It was their first emergency. Malorita, who's since been a scratching, the full sister to Tiaki Shark, I think.
Bang on there.
Yeah, okay, very good. 2 in a row for me. What made the field ahead of on Trivier? We've got the odds-on favourite into the race here. What happened? Do you have any insight into what happened here?
Yeah, look, it could have been a sticky situation if on Trivier didn't make the field come for Saturday afternoon. As it happens, it's all worked out well. But look, I believe the scenario is with the handicapper and the discretion is with the handicapper. When they've got level ratings, which they do on this occasion, Malorita on Trivier, 75 apiece in terms of ratings. They go in terms of the recent form leading into this race. And the handicapper believed the rating 74, 75 benchmark races in the Metropolitan meetings over in Australia was stronger than the 74 race that on Trivier had won on, on Christmas Boxing Day. So it was just purely down to that. The discrepancy of the handicapper. They went with Malorita in front of on Trivier. I don't think it's price related. They don't have that in terms of their thoughts.
No.
Obviously, but as it's turned out, I think the blessing has happened in terms of this horse making the field.
Yeah, I'd say a few people will be relieved. That'd be the overall
absolutely.
feeling. Yeah, okay. It's going to be hard to beat. On Trivier in the Concorde, race number 5 at Ellerslie. Last race we're going to have a look at our team is race number 6 on the card, the Karaka Million 3-year-old over the mile and dead set 2-horse race, Steve.
Yeah, you're bang on. Look, Armada Linear and Aegon fight out favouritism, 210 v 240 in front of the filly. Armada Linear, look, she opened at 210 and she's been the best back runner in terms of dollars invested. In fact, she holds 3 times more money than Aegon at 240. Z falls at $15, so a massive gap in terms of the second and third favourite. Bella Button, 16 out to 17. Supreme Khan, perfect scenario. The stablemates, 26 apiece. Monterey Moy also at 26. Waimuku Falls Big Syndicate here, 41 to 31. So there's one that has come in off a higher price. Lord Ardmore at $41. On display also at 41. Edge of Wonder, 41. And Tannehill at 41. And Invincible Spirit is best of the rest at 51. So overall, our best back runner is Armada Linear at $2.10 in front of Aegon. Aegon not friendless, but just purely $1 invested, 3 times more money on the 11.
I'm just looking forward to hearing Pop say this horse's name. Which campion, which of the A's here, Pops? Madalena or Aegon in the Karaka Million 3-year-old?
Yeah, it sets up to be a super finish, doesn't it, between these two horses? Because, look, they both are runners that deserve top billing in the race, don't they? One of them's a Group 1 winner, and they've been Aegon. He's 3 from 3. He's been super this season. He's won a Hawke's Bay Guineas, and he's won his Group 1 at his 3rd start of the races. But, of course, Madalena is a runner that was super in how she won in the 8 Carat. She just looks to be a horse that's got so much scope. She's a beautiful, big girl of Savabeel. So I just think that she is a runner that's going to be the one pounding down the outside, and it could be the one that tries to gobble up Aegon. I think we're in for a super finish. I think this is a race where these two do clear themselves, don't they? I mean, it just looks to be a little margin between the others in behind. It's not to say that these other horses in behind are mugs, because there are some horses in here that have competed at a good level. The likes of Lord Ardmore, for instance, he's run 4th in a 2,000 guineas recently. Didn't have any luck last time. I thought On Display was pretty good last time, actually. Running 3rd behind Rocket Spade, who's right in the market for the Vodafone New Zealand Derby. That was in the Auckland Guineas. And yeah, even Waimuku Falls, those type of horses. But are these two runners just in a different league at the same time? And that's where we keep coming back to Madalena and Aegon. And I'm 11 over 1 just. That's how I'm looking to play the race. And I suppose the next question to you, Stephen, is futures markets. Just how had this futures market unfolded leading towards this race becoming a final field, and where things were sitting and where the money was going?
You had them joints, Steve.
It's a good question.
Yeah,
it's a good question. There might
joints.
be a few people confused out there because 220 each of 2. Aegon draws barrier 4, Madalena draws barrier 11. So naturally, you'd feel, right, Aegon's going to be fave come final field. Look, futures, we don't spend a huge amount of time in their prices. Yeah, we we go on their last performances and reflect on what they've produced and look at the futures, but we don't spend a huge amount of time in terms of versing final field when we bring all our data together and whatnot. And when we looked at it in terms of data and the map and so on, we went out with Armalinia favourite. So on reflection, the futures was incorrect.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe the futures should have been Armalinia around about that, I don't know, $2, $2.10 price, around about where she's found in the final field, where Aegon might have been $2.80, $2.90, but we brought him in fractionally on that barrier 4. So I think overall, and I know it was confusing, that we had the futures wrong rather than correct. And now we've got the final field, which hopefully we've got correct.
Yeah, I was going to say we're Aegon a good close favourite yet, but early money suggests that Armalinia is the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Early doors, it's indicating that Armalinia will start favourite. There's a lot to play out, but we've still got 48 odd hours to go into this market. Aegon, drawn barrier 4. Look, can he use that gate to a degree? Maybe, but I think he's going to be no better than midfield.
Neutral.
Yeah, I think he's going to be no better than midfield. Armalinia should get that run that she got on the 8 carat. And naturally, there'll be speed in this race with the likes on Visible Spirit and also Supreme Khan. Now, Supreme Khan and Visible Spirit are the horses that are likely to go forward and sit 1-2 in the map, and they've drawn wide gates. And naturally, you're going to get an early tempo, probably above moderate. And the likes of Lord Ardmore, Waimuku Falls, who are also drawn that middle to outside part in terms of the barriers, will look to push forward as well. So, yeah, I think that in the early stages, there will be that tempo. How hard they go middle section, not sure. But Armalinia, I think she'll get that similar run where she's back in the back third. She'll be able to see Aegon on the inside of her. And she'll be able to present when she wants to. Whether she gets cover 3 wide remains to be seen. But yeah, I think she'll get that similar run.
Danielle will be able to do it. She got 3
Dragon
wide.
Queen in amongst that speed battle as well, Stephen, as well, do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, she's where she drawn barrier 2. So again, you need that pressure also up underneath to make those horses that are drawn wide to keep coming forward. Also, you've probably got Perfect Scenario, who's drawn barrier 1, will look to go forward from that gate, try and hold a spot. So again, that will generate a bit of tempo from speed coming out and in.
Yeah, okay. Man barely standing. Which camp are you settling in? Can we get a Tiaka run a beat here on Saturday?
I'm leaning the other way to BP. I've got Aegon on top.
Good man.
I still can't believe he won the Hawke's Bay Guineas. Absolutely blew that last furlong. Pretty much did the same thing in the 2000 Guineas. That turn of foot, that turbo boost. You either got it or you don't, and he's got it in spades, just like his father.
Yeah, he won the Hawke's Bay Guineas similarly.
Indeed.
Yeah. How was his trial, Steve? Aegon, he cleared a trial leading into this, pretty solid. You would have seen that man barely standing. Trial was pretty good, wasn't it?
Didn't look the worst.
No,
it didn't look the worst at all.
Yeah. You got anything else down the page?
You can't beat race fitness, though, can you? I'm sure Baker Forsman have got the horse right up to the mark where they possibly can.
Yep. But
it's like any athlete, whether you're a rugby player, cricket player, you can't beat race day fitness, so or game fitness, whatever the code. So
that's probably why you've gone favourite that way, right?
Absolutely. Aegon could easily be the best horse in the race.
Yeah,
he's a Group 1 winner, and he could put this field to bed, and we go, what were you doing? What were we doing second fave?
Yeah.
But we did take that into the overall price and probability, which has to be accountable if you're having a bet on him.
Yeah, okay. Man barely standing. Anything else you want to mention in this race? Bella Button was good a couple of Sundays ago.
I like Bella Button.
Yeah,
I like Bella Button.
I just can't. The top, the boys have got it right. The top of the market, that's where you look, and then you play around underneath.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think she's a top 4 proposition, Bella Button.
Yeah, okay.
Michael McNabb lost the ride on the Irishman during the week. He's jumped aboard Bella Button. I love what she produced between the 6 and the 4. It was off a slow tempo at Ellerslie a couple of weeks ago. Yep. She put herself in the race off a slow tempo. She hit the front early in the straight. And her last 4 and 200 was okay. In fact, it was comparable to Elephant, who won the rating 74, 1500. So that's a nice little comparison link you can make. There was only 2 races that met the benchmark standard in that twilight meeting. There was Elephant, the rating 74, and also Bella Button, the 3-year-old event. So, look, she's got upside.
Yeah.
I think they're working back from an Oaks.
Yeah.
But maybe a different top 4, maybe 1x3 play.
Yeah, okay. BP, 11-1 for you. What do we need for our the end of our first 4s here in the last of the day?
Yeah, what I will say is don't be put off by horses that are paying extreme prices, because we did see a horse by the name of the Real Beal really push Longleaf a few years ago in this particular race. I think it nearly went around at 200 to 1, did it not? It was enormous odds anyway, and it nearly did a Miss Bailey and pulled off a tote breaker.
Which it did it to Napa.
You're showing your age there, Pops. Miss Bailey.
That's right. Yeah, Leander Should, Grant Cullen. So I'll go 11 to beat 1. 3 on display. I think this is the one I'm keen to have a little nibble on the place price. Draws sticky and awkward, so it's going to come over and find a good spot. I just really like how this horse worked home in the Auckland Guineas. I thought it was a super run from him. So I do like his chances. So I'll go 11-1. 3 and Lord Ardmore's the other one. At least we've seen this horse compete at the high level of the 2,000 guineas when finishing into 4th position. But there's a few other hopes and behind it, but that want to go a bit wider in the first 4.
Yeah, exactly. I think it'll be everyone's Quinella of the day. Madalena Agon, Lord Ardmore, and on display both at 40 to 1. Anything else, Paul, that we need to mention in this race, or you're just going to take the Quinella and move on with your life, are you?
Anyway, smaller the fish.
Not again. Can't all be small fish, surely. Righto, guys. Well, that's it. We're getting close to wind-up time. We need a bet of the day, and off the back of it, I'm going to call it a successful foray to Trentham. Man barely standing. You were a bit stiff on Buzz in Kickstart's race. I'll give you that one. It's not often I give you that one. You went for the same gap and missed. Get back on track for us, please.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, I'll look down south. Gore have got a meeting down there on Saturdays.
Gore Guineas.
Indeed.
Big day.
And the Liquorland Gore Guineas. And that's exactly the race that I'll be looking at. I don't mind the look of the favourite there, Ocean Point at $4.80. 2 good wins over 1,200 metres, where she went to the lead both times. It was just too strong up the straight. Had the fastest last 600 metres in her 4th at Riccarton over 1,400 metres, when she really couldn't let down 100%. She was stuck in behind a few coming down the straight. Still had the fastest last 600. Both losses to date have been from barrier 10 and 12, where she dropped back. Both her wins have been from barrier 1 and 5. She's drawn barrier 2 here.
You've been unbelievable today. You've done some homework. I'll give you that. Your prep time's gone through the roof this week. Ocean Point, what price? Do you know?
$4.80 at the moment.
Lovely money. Stephen, you're coming off the back of a win with Waisaki, now a Wellington Cup favourite, I think around $4. Can you back $3? Gee, $4 too generous. Can you back it up for us, please?
I'm going to go to Trentham. They've got a nice little card. Some real
family day there, isn't it?
It is picnic day, and I'll go to race 7, the Summer Cup over 2-4. No Compromise. It was a well-backed commodity last start. Prior to that, had a couple of wins on the board. With the claim gets down to 55.5, I think with its rating is situated quite well in the overall scheme of things in terms of the race. Had that trail position, which we speak of in the office. It can be a negative on the map. We see it quite often. You have the trail and you're relying on the horse in front of you, horses on the outside of you to present that gap. It just didn't work out last start. I think she's got an edge over, or he's got an edge over this field. I think he's at least up to rating 84, 85 company.
Yep.
And he could be a nice little stayer in about 12 months' time. So No Compromise, 260.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised if it started close to even money.
Yeah, okay. That trail scares me these days. I haven't got the gumption for it. BP, Super Strike, sensational last week. Where's your bet of the week this weekend? And we didn't touch on your maiden of the week as well. Can you give us one of those?
All right, okay. We'll go best bet first of all, and we'll go first race of the day at Alison Karaka Million night. Really like Need I Say More. I think this horse is very well suited to a freshen up back to 1,200 metres. Zip straight to the front and could be awfully hard to beat. So I like everything about what Need I Say More produces in this race. So he's got 60.5 kilos, but you don't let it put you off. He's going to be high flying in front, and I think he is the one to beat in the first. So $2.20 is enough of a spoil there to say that that can get your day underway. In terms of the maiden of the week, I'm going to go to Te Rapa on Wednesday just gone. And Tribute King. Now, Tribute King won a race, which was race number 2 over 1,400 metres. I didn't mind how he won that race. Boy, he's got a lovely stride on him. Once he sort of got mobile and really worked through the gears, he was pretty good. He had blinkers on and he put them away quite nicely. And I think there's enough in the race. Side Eye ran second, been very well backed his last couple of starts, Side Eye. But both Side Eye and Zarzina ran second and third, and they bounced out of the Force of Will race, which we've seen Masseur come out and win yesterday as well. And Force of Will has gone on to win last Friday at Tauranga, and I think that horse is going in the right direction to be looking like a pretty good filly. So a couple of different branches of form line to work off there, with Tribute King as our maiden of the week.
Yeah, very nice. Don't mind the contributors, Pops. They're going all right. It's keeping my eye on those. And Tribute
high
King.
Shap, so time and distance will be their friend.
Pops is, that's Tribute King is a son of contributor. So I'll be keeping my eyes peeled on that. Need I say more, Steve? Resumes?
220.
Yeah.
And I will just give a little bit of a secret out there. The second fave, Babylon Berlin, who's first up of a sticky gate, is absolutely friendless. Might have written 1 or 2 tickets.
Oof.
Freezing cold.
But is freezing cold. So look, still a little bit to play out, but I will say 328 to 340. There might be an opportunity around, need I say more, in terms of Babylon Berlin being the drifter, and most of that probability will head towards the favourite, need I say more. So could start odds on, need I say more. Yep. And I thought the max special on the day was in the Karaka Cup in a twinkling. Just no speed in the race. From barrier 11 from memory, I think he can come across, even though he's got a big weight.
Yep.
He might be hard to run down, even though going back and trip. But again, we talk about these Tiakau runners. I think they have at least 4 favourites on the card. It's going to be one of these multi-heavens for customers.
Oh, my goodness.
You're not going to back it. Tell the punters now.
I'm going to be backing every Tiakau runner I can see, because that's the only way they're going to be able to stop them tomorrow night. GBP, you'll be looking forward to tomorrow night. Speaking of multi, speaking of atmospheres on track, the BGP boys will be there. It's going to be a magical night, isn't it?
It will be. It really is. And as we said at the top of the show, it has built over the years to this point where it is the night of the year. It is 6 of the best out of Ellerslie with the races that are produced there, and can't wait to be a part of it.
Thanks for your time, BP, as always, mate, and your expert comments. Thank you, gentlemen. Enjoy your weekends. What's happening, man? Barely standing.
Guaranteed $100,000 first fours on every race at Ellerslie Karaka Million.
That's all we need to know.
Woof.
Yeah, okay. Good luck. Good luck to you. Good luck, Stephen.
I'll be joining BP in terms of the coverage, but here in the Petone office, and give out all the oil in terms of market movers, big bets, etc. So I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah, and Emily's there, isn't she? BP said. Yeah, it'll be a good team. And steer clear, Aidan Rodley would be my advice if you're on track there at Ellerslie tomorrow night. Oh, sorry, Saturday night. It's only Thursday as we record this. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you joining us on the Leg Up. And we will be back in 7 days' time to review Karaka Million and look forward to Wellington Cup Day.